Hey Star family, it's been a while, but let's get right into it. I wanted to wrap up this the season finale of Love After Lockup because I know the new season of Life After Lockup is starting soon, and I wanted to be caught up because I think a lot of these couples from this season are going to be on Life After Lockup. I'm not sure. I have nothing confirmed. I didn't read anything, but from how this last episode went, the season finale of this season, how it went, I think for sure we're going to see two couples on Life After Lockup. So let's get into it. Indy and Harry. So Indy and Harry come to an end this season. This season. On the season finale, we see Indy packing up her things and she's saying, you know, she's really sad for her daughter. Is it Nokia? Is her daughter named Nokia? Nakaya? Nokia. She's really upset for her daughter, Nokia, because she's just like, you know, she really liked Harry. She considered him her father. She's just going to be really upset that Harry is not there and Harry's not going to be a part of her life anymore. And I'm like, I think that child is very aware of Harry not being present in her life because he hasn't been since he got out of prison. Right? She's only talked to him through FaceTime and then she sees him in person and he disappears. I don't think she's gonna miss him because the way that baby was just like, we're going back to Maryland, finally, yeah. And this child is running around and packing her things. I'm like, Indy, your child thinks that you made a terrible decision and now she's so happy that her mama got her mind right and that they're going back home because the baby has been living in complete hell. For her to have that reaction that she's finally going back to Maryland, that means that baby was going through it. But the way that baby said, we're going back to Maryland, was like a praise and worship. She was so happy to be finally getting out of the chaos that you brought her in, which is Harry's world. That child knows that he was not in her life. That child knows that he was not a good fit for her mom or herself, and she is happy to be getting out of that situation. I wish her mother had the same sense. Because Indy, you were forced out of this situation. You were forced out of this situation by Harry because Harry gave you none of what you wanted or required. You were looking like a fool in his home, and his sister probably finally said, he's not coming back here. He got another woman. You gotta go. That's the only reason why you up and left. So we end Harry and Indy's chapter with Harry now being with Terry. She's, you know, his warden while he's free. She's still doing the same things, making sure he gets up, making sure he bathes, making sure he sucks her, making sure that he goes and looks for a job. And he's like, she's the best thing that ever happened to me. I'm like, you're still in prison. Like, it's still just, you're still in a halfway house, bro. You just get to have sex with Terry legally. And we also get this little tidbit of information that Indy and Harry are talking again. And I think the show put that in because we're probably going to see Indy and Harry on Life After Lockup. What do you guys think? Let's talk about it in the comment section below. TAYLER and CHAZ. CHAZ being Brad Pitt's cousin does not shock me at all because Brad Pitt's family tree is ghetto as hell. Look it up. In the season finale, CHAZ proposes to TAYLER. Her kids are not interested. The kids were like, can we hurry this up? It's cold. The only thing that was really sweet about this proposal was the fact that CHAZ got all of her daughter's rings and, you know, asked them to marry him as well. Well, you know, asked if he could be in their lives and, you know, gave them all their rings. And her little daughter was like, thank you. Cute. That's the only thing about it. Their life is going to be hell with CHAZ. He's not good. He still wants to kick her sister out. Her sister who has been there helping her with her children. I think that CHAZ is a bad decision for TAYLER and her children, but that's for TAYLER to find out and finally come to the realization. All we can do is pray that those kids are not harmed within that union. I don't think they'll be on Life After Lockup. I pray they don't because this couple was very hard to watch. It was an abusive relationship. We gotta be real. It was an abusive relationship. CHAZ was such a negative force over that family and it just was not enjoyable watching him berate TAYLER, fight with her children and try to kick her sister out. It wasn't good. You know what I mean? And listen, Love After Lockup doesn't have to entertain all the time, right? Because it's kind of like a docuseries as well. So there's a lot of truth in that. We see a lot of what people in the system who struggle with addiction, who struggle in poverty, we see a lot of their real lives. Like, this show has a good balance. CHAZ and TAYLER's story never had a balance. It was always chaos. It was always darkness. It was always abuse. So I'm glad to see them off of my TV. Lacey and Antoine, real quick, let's get into Lacey's sister. She was on, I think, the second to last episode before the season finale. What was up with the sister? First of all, she was speaking a million miles a minute, would not let Lacey get anything in. How's everything going? Great, good. Are you going to let him move out of the house? Things going well with his family? Listen, he's a felon. Things happen. How are you? Really great. Well, I'm doing awesome. Anyway, I'm like, let Lacey respond. Let Lacey respond, big sis. Was it weird to you with how she changed up when Antoine walked in? Because she's telling her sister all of these things. And she's like, Antoine was in prison. He's a leech. And now this ex-con is leeching off of you. I know what it's like to be a leeching ex-con. Really? Are you a leeching ex-con? What the hell is going on? Like, there was so little explained about that sister. And while she's talking about how Antoine is a leeching ex-con, Antoine walks in and she's like, oh my God, Antoine. I'm like, is that the leeching ex-con that you were just talking about? I'm so happy to finally meet you. Come here, buddy. Very weird. Then he sits down and she's just like, you better not hurt my sister or I'll come for you. Ma'am, you have far too many personalities in that head. Find God or a therapist. Anyway, for everybody, I recommend that. In this last episode, I was just like, you know what? Lacey and Antoine are the alabaster version of KAYLAH and Martell. Because they're just a toxic couple and all they do is fight. This whole episode, they were just cussing at each other. Like it was normal. Like KAYLAH and Martell. Which is why I was so disappointed that at the end, it was just like Lacey and Antoine are expecting a child. Why, Lacey? Why would you bring a child into that situation? You don't even want to be in a situation. You're on the phone with the producers and you're just like, well, he's not good for me and I'm done with him, but I just don't want to throw him out because I don't want him to relapse. His sobriety is not your problem. But now it is, since he's your baby daddy. You really think that Antoine is fit to be a father? You didn't even think that he was fit to be your man. Now he's your baby daddy? You are in for a world of problems. Find God and a therapist. Oh, Lord. Yikes, Lacey. Yikes. Before I move on, were you all shocked that Antoine had younger siblings? Because I just always think of when we first met his mother. I go back to that. I'm just like, you were parenting small children in this state of mind? Because now she's sober because she has cirrhosis of the liver and she has to be clean for 6 months before she can get a transplant. She's on the transplant list, but she has to have not had a drink in 6 months to be able to get the transplant. So now she's sober. But I was just thinking, like, when you were in that state of mind, you were taking care of these small kids. Jesus. And then Lacey had the audacity to say, I think Antoine's mom is trying to sabotage my relationship. You should have thanked her. You should have thanked her. If she was trying to sabotage that relationship, you should have let her. You should have let her. Now, that family is your family. That family is your child's family. And that man is your child's father. Oh, God. I'm telling you, that couple is going to put that kid's teacher through it. Kevin and Tiffany, nothing much happened with them, and I think the reason why a lot didn't happen with them in this episode is because they're going to move them over into Life After Lockup. I think that after Kevin punched that guy's lights out, I think the producers were just like, we have to keep him for another season. Kevin and Tiffany are going to try to work out their relationship and then later on become a throuple. I would like to see it. I would like to see the chaos that this relationship will be, because these two, at least Kevin, is entertaining. And Tiffany is a mess. So that's good TV. I think we're going to see them on Life After Lockup. Would you be interested in seeing them? Let me know in the comment section below. RAYDEAN and Rick. Baby, when Rick said that RAYDEAN was a Gucci girl, I was like, Gucci? Sir, did you mean hoochie or coochie? Because you could not have possibly meant Gucci. Then he says, I spent $12,000 on her in total. Beloved, that's a Gucci bag and probably some gloves and maybe a keychain. So Gucci girl, where? Anyway, RAYDEAN in this episode lets her family know that she married Kay while she was still incarcerated. When RAYDEAN tells her stepmother breaks down, right? And her stepmother, in my opinion, tried to make it seem like she was falling out crying because RAYDEAN deceived Rick. I think she was crying because RAYDEAN married a woman, because she even turned around and said to Nadine, you really did it? You can't like undo it? And RAYDEAN was like, no, I did it to take care of her so that I could have a voice in taking care of her, right? So then RAYDEAN later tells Rick that she married Kay, and they pretty much dissolve their relationship because Rick is like, I'm not gonna be involved with a married person. Now, I am in no way team Rick, but I will say I did not like what RAYDEAN said in her confessional about Rick. She was just like, Rick ain't going nowhere. I'm going to be with Kay. I'm going to live my life. I'm going to, you know, look out for Kay. And Rick is still going to be there. Rick is still going to, you know, take care of me. He ain't going nowhere. Well, baby, I hope you didn't look through your crystal ball to get that information, because RAYDEAN and Rick have not spoken since they filmed that last scene. So Rick went somewhere. Hopefully he found happiness with his best friend, roommate. No, best friend and roommate. Yes, his best friend and roommate. You know that girl that dresses like a 40-year-old teen witch? Her. Hopefully he found happiness with her, because they seem to have a really good relationship. So maybe she's the one, Rick. Let's move on to Martell and KAYLAH, the God-fearing couple. When Martell was like, we are a God-fearing couple, I was like, which God? Christian. Anyway, KAYLAH and Martell are in a good place now. They've had their arguments. They're in a good place. KAYLAH is now ready to get married to Martell and have his child. Pray for that baby. Pray for that baby. Let me tell you something. Antoine Jr. or Lacey Jr. or KAYLAH Jr. or Martell Jr. is going to have one hell of a childhood. My God, today. Pray for them babies. Pray for them babies. But after everything that KAYLAH has endured with Martell, she's ready to marry him. I don't know why. And have his child. All y'all do is fight. Y'all had one makeup, and you think that now you two know how to communicate? You don't. You don't. And how are you going to be able to communicate when Martell has another woman? At least we heard him talking to her on camera, and the producer was like, who was that? He was like, Anna. And then he made this like huge grin with all these gold teeth, and I'm just like, the nerve, right? The nerve of you to act as if you are this prize and treat this woman that has been holding you down like that. To not only cheat on her, but to cheat on her openly on camera, to make her feel even more foolish after you made her feel filthy at the beginning of this season. KAYLAH, you could do better on your worst day. Let's wrap up with CHAZ and BRANDYWIN. So BRANDYWIN basically has an anxiety attack because she does not want to have sex with CHAZ, and she's feeling torn on whether she should leave with CHAZ or stay and be with her daughter. I think she's going to stay and be with her daughter. I think she needs to choose her child now that she is sober and healthy. I also don't think that CHAZ is a good situation for her, because previously, because we saw when CHAZ took her daughter out for dinner that he was not, or lunch, he was not able to pay. His cars were declining. And then BRANDYWIN was talking about all of the financial issues that he was having. I thought that CHAZ was a good fit for her if he could take care of her, if he could provide for her. Being as though he can't provide for BRANDYWIN, I think that she would be much better off without him and with her child, fixing and mending and building that relationship and working on her sobriety. Hopefully we see them next season so BRANDYWIN can get that check, and hopefully she will start her YouTube talking to alabaster women over 40 about skincare, because girl, you look great. Anyway, that's all I wanted to talk about for the season finale of Love After Lockup, so that we can be ready to get into life after lockup. Tell me what you thought about this episode in the comments section below. Love ya. See you soon. Bye.